Okay. So who is group 2?
Bello Awawu Morayo, group 2.
Okay, group 3.
I know, yeah, Missy. I'm in group 3, ma.
Group 4.
Onyechi, I'm in group 4, ma.
Group 5. Group 6.
Okay, Chidano Kereke, I'm in group 2.
No, at least let me have one representative for each group first. So not group 5, right? So group 5 present. What about group 6? So we have groups 1 to 4 present. Okay, so the other people that have not spoken, who is your team lead? And which group are you? Maybe we'll put it in the chat. Let me know. Set your group there. I will check the chat, then I'll know. So put your group there. Then I will know how many people are in which group. Then I will know how many people are going to be rated for this work. Please put your group in the chat.
Can't leave me alone. I'm in a class.
Put your group in the chat, please. I'm having how many people? 16 people. So that means we have four in a group. How many people are in each group anyway? People are group 2. Okay, other people, you are not putting your charts. Please put your chart so that I can pick up this thing. Group 4. Okay, Risika 2, Abdul group 1. Please, everybody type your group. Risika 2. Okay. Obona group 4. Emanuela group 2. Risika 2 group 1. And the person that the children are talking, please try and mute yourself. Akinyera group 1. Okay. So I have 2 people in group 1, 2 people in group 2, 2 people in group 4. Okay, nobody in group 3. But I have 16 people here. Is it that some of you don't have group? No, we are still going to do seminar in the, what is it called? In the syntax. So me, I don't understand you people. Is that some of you have disappeared or what? Please type your group. Type your group so that we can start. Akinyera group 1. 1, 2. Why did I put no? Is it that people are not having groups or what?
Yes, ma'am. I didn't know even they went about the grouping people.
Are you not in the chat room? Or do you not attend class today? I said they should coordinate this thing.
I was in the class and I dropped the message inside the pragmatics group that I am, but I didn't see any response from anybody. But I'm not in the chat group.
Then that thing was sent to you people long ago. The chat group was sent and it was shared. So how come?
No, me, I just
say want to join group. How can you be wanting to join group 2? I'm not the one coordinating. It's Olabola that's coordinating. Why are you telling me you want to join group 2? All these things were done inside the chat room. And we're announcing it, even the last class, I see announced it. The previous class, I announced it. So what is it now? What is it? Why you be doing as if that you are not a serious set of people?
I'm sorry, ma'am. I'm not in the chat group. I've not been in the class when the chat group was organized.
But when it was announced that you people you are presenting this week, last week, why are you now just telling me? You should not waste my time. Please, I have only 2 people in the groups. Okay, group 1. Yeah, okay, I now have 3 people in group 1. Then group 4, 4 people. Group 2, only 2 people. Okay. No, this one say you want to join group 2. She's not in group 2. Daniel, correct. How many of you are in group 2? This I've never seen you in the class before. So it's like you're just joining today, and now you say you want to join one group. All right, well, I see. They are saying they don't know about groups. So how did you go about organizing them?
Thank you so much, Prof. I think those guys, they are not in the group, and I don't know they are not. When I asked them to drop their name and their matric number so that we can form group, only those who registered their names were those grouped into different groups. It was later, some of them were telling me that they are not in the group that I should do, and those that I can, I asked them that whenever they are up to 6, then they will form another group, because we are 6 per group. And since then, some of them have not responded. And those who responded, I gave them that they are already 5, they can form another group. So they should give me feedback whenever they form another group. But none of them has, replied me since then. It's
Yes.
not until now. They are telling me that they are not in the group. They are not in the group.
I can testify to
Excuse
that.
me. Excuse me,
testify to
please.
that.
I'm not
Yes.
in the chat group. Then I dropped a message inside the pragmatics group that I don't know anything about this grouping stuff. Nobody responded to me.
But the people you are dropping, if are they in the pragmatics, is pragmatics
Then
a
I'm not
caucus?
in the
Wait, is
in the group.
pragmatics a caucus?
I don't know any chat that there is still another chat group that belongs to this class. Because I just
is pragmatic a caucus?
no, ma.
Because these people, they formed a group for this class, and that was not long ago. Right from the first day that I met with you people, or the second time, they formed the chat group for the class for the ENG841, 82841. How can you be dropping it in pragmatics? Say nobody responded. Why would they be responding? You should drop such a thing in a core class, not in an elective class. If the people, they are not interested, so why would they be able to respond? Somebody say you should just join it today. Is this such a person that you'll be dropping something for, and the person will be able to help you?
I'm sorry, ma. I'm not in the chat. Why I joined this class? Not quite. I'm not in the group chat.
If somebody else watched the video and was telling me that they want to join, and I said no, I'm not the one. That this social person is the person that reach out to this person that was the one that did it. Even Kwadi that even opened the group chat, and I've not been seeing him for quite a while. Even Kwadi that is supposed to be the person in charge of that, I've not been seeing him. So what do you want me to do now? If you have been watching the video or whatever, you would have seen all the things we discussed at the beginning. That's why some people watch and they were able to say, they want to be in the chat. So what do I do now? There's nothing more I can do. So you people should just decide to this person. This teller says she cannot hear. So what do I do now? He said you'll be doing it to, what am I supposed to do? Everybody else is hearing me. So Stella, if you cannot hear me, I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry. I cannot do much about that. So what you just do is that you watch the video. Now I've told you that before. You watch the video and take action after that. Okay, so Olaiwola, please. If you know who are the group team leaders, so that let them do presentation, I beg. I have other things to do. I have 1 hour to do all this thing.
Okay. I think Ekenzua. Okay. Ekenzua is presenting for group 1. I think according to our collective decision. And I don't know who is presenting for group 2. So maybe they are online. They should just tell us who is presenting for.
What you should have done is to have gotten people that will do that. Because I say coordinate them.
So,
this you should have known the team leads and make sure, because like 3 now, 5 and 6, they are not present. I have only group 1, group 2, and group 4. They are the only one that are present. I have not seen anybody say they are in group 5. I have not seen anybody saying they are in group 6. I have not seen anybody say, because I was told that you people have 6 groups. And yes, then even the group 4 that are here, how many of them are actually, you are only having 1 or 2 people that will say they are in this group. I have not seen anybody that is actually
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma. The day we formed the group for presentation, we had 24 people who dropped their name and the matric number. So we divided it into 4 groups, and each group consists of 6 members. So those guys, they are supposed to be online now because we discussed it, and we told them, we made them realize that presentation will begin today. So where they are not online, I don't know, ma.
Okay, no problem. Let the people that are ready, let them do presentation.
Hello, Mr. Laiwala. It seems that this lady, Akezua, is like she's not online because I've checked through the names of the participants. It's like she's not there. It's like she's not there. So let us not just
no problem. If she's not around yet, maybe we will take charge anyway. We take charge.
So can you start, or what you do? What did you do?
Prof Mark, can we start our presentation now?
Please go ahead. Go ahead. Who is Emekin Slebasi? Yeah, are you in group 2 or you want to join group 2?
I'm in group 2. I'm in group 2, ma.
Are you the one to present for group 2?
I will present for group 2. Daniel Okereke Ogechi.
Okay. But I was asking people are group presenting. I was only told of group 1. Who is group preparing for group 2? I was told that I've seen before is there, but we don't find the other groups. Okay, let group 1 start.
Okay, I want to share my screen, ma.
Please go ahead.
Okay. All right.
It's me you are sharing on your screen.
Oh, sorry, ma. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm coming out. I'm trying to locate our paper. All right, so today can you hear me, Prof Ma?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm trying to load okay. Okay, this is group 1 presenting paper presented on the phonology.
She said she's not in any group. Is she not the one here?
Akinyera
that was complaining that.
No, I'm not the one, ma. I'm a male. I'm a male. He's Akoshile.
Akoshile, okay.
Yes, ma.
Ma, can you see my screen, ma?
Yes. Now that's how I saw
it. Okay. This is group 1, and we have the table of content. So this evening we shall be looking into phonological rule and optimality theory.
You have 10 minutes, so you have 10 minutes.
Okay, I will be fast about it. And we want to look at what each the phonological rule means, and what optimality theory, what both of them have in connection, and why do optimality theorists believe that their theory is rule-free. Now, we see phonological theory, just like prescriptive grammar, set up rules for how sounds or the grammar of a language can be represented. And as we can see on our screen, we have different kinds of rules that the phonological rule prescribe, such as voice assimilation, nasal assimilation, consonant, and so on and so forth. So what we want to talk about phonological rule is that this one rule prescribes that this is the rule according to which a particular language must be spoken, and according to which phonology of a particular sound of a particular language must be spoken, and it must not be violated. Once it is violated, then there is nothing about it. It is ungrammatical. This is the rule, inviolable rules according to phonological rules. But optimality theory takes issue with this approach to grammar. And by my screen, you say optimality theory is a constraint rule. It is not rule-based, because they do not believe that this particular phonology of a particular language can be given rule, but constraints that are general to all languages of the world. It is not rule-based. And let me, okay, why optimality theory? Now, that is, why was this theory propounded? According to Prince and Smolensky, they say that optimality theory as non-rule-based theory is introduced to remedy shortfalls of the rule-based framework, which does not belong to the use of language as a set of constraints despite the. Now, optimality theory abandons two key presuppositions of earlier works. First, that it is possible for a grammar to narrowly and parochially specify the structural description of a structural change of rule. In place of this is gen, which generates any form of given input, a larger space of candidate analysis by freely exercising the basic structural resources of representational theory. What this means is that instead of using certain rules, instead of prescribing certain rules, they use gen, which I talk about what gen is very soon. And the second thing that they abandon, second presupposition of the earlier of the phonological rule they abandon, is that OT also abandons the widely held view that constraints are language particular, as suggested in Pew rule, segment of phonological truth, phonotatic truth. In its place is the assertion that constraints are essentially universal and of every general formulation with great potential for disagreement over the well-formedness of analysis. And individual grammar consists of a ranking of these constraints, which resolve at any conflict. So what this one is talking about is that the optimality theory, they believe that a constraint are a language universal. It belongs to every grammar of all language. Meanwhile, phonological rule is language particular. It is not common to all languages of the world, unlike a constraint, which the optimality theories believe it is found. They can be found in all languages of the world, and we are going to determine by ranking the constraint. And now, by ranking the constraint, let us now compare P rule and OT. P rule and OT compared. In describing how language works, phonological rule approaches linguistic description with stringent rules, which must not be violated. Let us exemplify this with the stance of P rule on pronunciation of a plural marker, plurals. It is prescribed by P rule that the plural markers be pronounced as follows, according to the environment where it occurs. Pronounce as when it occurs after the voiceless consonants, such as etc., such as caps, mats, chiefs, and so on and so forth. Then pronounced as z when it is preceded by voice consonants and vowel sounds, bags, lads. Then pronounced as is when it occurs after sibilant consonants, such as and so on. So classes, matches, and so on and so forth. This rule, as observed earlier, must be obeyed according to phonological rule. Otherwise, the speaker will sound weird or ungrammatical. However, optimality theory takes issue with this approach, and instead of giving rule, it uses valuable competing constraints. According to OT, the P rule given on the realization of plural markers can be portrayed with the use of evaluation table called tableau in optimality theory. We can see the candidates That is different kind of candidate that want to produce that want to give us the output of the input, match voicing, and keep identical voicing. We're talking about the realization of a plural marker, how it was prescribed by the phonological rule, and how does optimality theory see it. Look at it. Candidate A, cards. Candidate B, cars. And candidate B, catch. Then match voicing. Then candidate A does not violate the first, does not violate match voicing. It violates keep identical sound. Candidate B violates match voicing by pronounced as cards. Meanwhile, it's supposed to be cards and does not violate the second one. Why candidate G that pronounce the one that is strange to the rule is has committed a valid violation in the match voicing, and so on. Then the second one goes the same way. In the evaluation tables, candidate A is our optimal candidate in the first tableau, while candidate B is the optimal candidate in the second tableau. Not only the segmenter, so that is about the segmenter aspect of phonology. Not only on the segmenter aspect that OTIL deals with, it also deals with orthosegmenter and subprosegmenter or prosodic level. For example, syllable. Optimality theory investigates the following syllable-related constraints. Onset. Constraint that begins only one syllable. Syllables must have onset except phrase initially. That is when it is spoken alone and it is a phrase initially, then it may not, as in heck, it may not have a consonant, which is onset, then peak, vowel, and so on and so forth. Let us exemplify this. Then the word bottom. This word has two syllables. Then candidate A, we have the constraints for this. F no coda that say that the first initial syllable must have no coda, and the phase C that all the consonant sounds in the input must be ultimately represented in the output. So bottom, in the first one, bottom, we have the first segment, the first syllable, and we know that the candidate has violated no rule in either of the constraint. Then bottom, the candidate B, it has violated that there must not be coda in the first syllable. And we can see how he pronounces it, he produces it rather. So there is coda. So he has violated F no coda. And the last one, the third candidate, pronounced as Botu, he committed VATA violation in F no coda by giving the first syllable coda, and by putting vowel U to the second one, he has committed VAT C. He has violated VAT C. In the table above, candidate A is our optimal candidate, and the consonant ranking is CV, consonant vowel, and the consonant F no coda, and the VAT C. Also, on stress, which is an aspect of suprasegmental phonology, we use the following examples to demonstrate phonological rule and optimality theory constraints. The words are doctor, driver, traitor. Phonological rule on the placement of stress on two-syllable word. As we know that the word doctor is a noun, phonological rule stresses, first states that stress should be placed on the first syllable when the ultimate syllable is an open vowel and the final syllable is a checked or dosed syllable. So according to phonological rule, doctor must be stressed on as doctor, the first syllable given stress, not doctor. Balloon, not balloon. Balloon, not balloon. The final syllable of the word balloon takes stress because the ultimate syllable is not an open as dictated by phonological rule. But optimality theory, rather than use this valuable rule, use the following constraints, which are valuable and in which only candidate who violate the weakest, the lower ranked constraint will be considered an optimal candidate. Rooting, these are some of the terms used. Rooting, that is the content word must be stressed. Way to stress principle. This states that this assigns one violation mark for every syllable that is unstressed, because sometimes we will have two syllables that have, both of the syllables have two heavy syllables, and only one of them has, as a maintain, only one of them has to be stressed. In that one, main is heavy syllable, tain is also heavy syllable. However, tain, the second syllable, will be stressed. So we come into that mark. Not initially, not any, assigns one violation mark for every foot that is word initial. And the CSR assigns one violation mark for every instance of a swap between a consonant and a retroless R. Then trochee is a faithfulness constraint. It assigns one violation mark for every foot that is not left-headed, because they believe that optimality theory believe that the consonant, the stress syllable must come from the left, and it say assigns any violation for two syllable words. Assigns one violation mark for every foot that is not left-headed. The stress constraints are used to account for the stress placement as follows. Stress pattern for doctor. Candidate A, we have root, that is the root of content one must be stressed, and CASR, and not in doctor, stressing this first syllable. The candidate A does not violate to the root because it stresses the root one, which is doc, and the second one that assigned to swa sound that you must assign. No, this violation mark is supposed to be under this CSR way. That was a mistake while we type it, ma. It's not under no initiality. And it's candidate B, say doctor. So he has violated root, because it is the root word, which is doc, is not stress. It is the second one. And way to stress, assign one violation rule for violation mark. Sorry, ma. Violation mark for every foot that is, no. Violation mark for a consonant and a retroless R. So he has also violated this particular rule. That is why we have VATA violation for the two. So in the above example, candidate one is the optimal candidate because it violates the lower, not the weakest, the lower rank constraint, while candidate two has VATA violation. The same thing goes with all other words, as in balloon, which is the second syllable stressed, as in maintain. An example of what we are talking about, stress placement for maintain. No, this is where we're talking about heavy, talking about these way to stress principle. As we can see in this word, maintain, both syllables are heavy. However, only the second syllable will take stress. So that is why we have way to stress principle. By stressing the verb, candidate A stresses the first syllable. So he has committed VATA violation there. And the root syllable, he also committed no initiality, he also committed, but he doesn't commit trochee, which says that which is a faithfulness constraint and assign one violation for every foot that is not left-headed. When you look at a candidate A, you will see that the stressed syllable is not left-headed. That is that is why candidate B is said to have violated that particular rule in this particular. That is why we put the sign there. So the second candidate above is our optimal candidate, as it satisfies high rank constraint, though it violates trochee, which is a lower rank constraint. So what we are saying, in essence, is that optimality theory is described as a rule-free because it does not impose any particular way by which a particular word should be pronounced. Rather, it describes it. It does not prescribe, as in prescriptive grammar. It does not. So it gives us guideline. It gives us guideline that look at this one, generate different kind of constraints and rank them. So any of the candidates, and bring together different candidates and let them try it. So any candidate that satisfies lower rank will be regarded as our optimal, though such a candidate can also violate another. That is why they call this particular, they say conflicting constraints, because an attempt to satisfy one constraint will lead to violation of another constraint. That is why we say they are conflicting. The constraints are conflicting. There is no way you can satisfy one without violating another one. So why optimality theory is described rule-free? Let me take it from what Sunday and Oyato 2016 says about this. OT is constraint-based. That is, there are no phonological rules or serial rule ordering and derivations to determine the correct suffix or output form of a phonological input. Instead, optimal output forms are determined by the interaction of universal violable constraints. There is no mechanism for ensuring that any one type of stress is assigned before another.
Is anybody helping me to keep time? What's your time?
Okay, it's almost 9, ma.
I mean the time that you are supposed to use 10 minutes.
Okay, I don't know. I've used the, okay. I don't know. I've exhausted my time, ma.
Okay, you have 2 minutes more to round up.
Okay. Okay. So what we are simply talking about here is that it is rule. Optimality theory believe that it is rule-free because it does not specify, it does not particularize it to a particular language. Rather, it talks about constraints that are common to all languages of the world. And these particular constraints are violable, but we rank them. They are violable. It does not, unlike that phonological theory, phonological rule that no, you must not violate the rule that has been prescribed. Once you violate it, you are saying something else. But optimality theory says you can violate one and you don't violate the other one. So we look for the optimal one among different candidates that violate the lower ranked one. However, as rule-free, as a phonological, as an optimality theory appears, we still have look at it from the second perspective that even though the rules are not imposed, we can still say that some rules are prescribed. For example, roots. The rooting, that the root of content word must be stressed. That's one. How do we arrive at emerge our optimality theory? Because such a candidate has satisfied a particular rule, which we know, I mean, overtly or covertly, we know that this candidate has satisfied this particular rule. That is why we call it the candidate optimal candidate, even though the rule is not as volatile as that of phonological rule. So that is what we know. However, we agree 85% to optimality theory as being rule-free, but at the same time, we can still look, if we look at it, it also prescribes rule, but that rule is not as stringent as that of phonological rule. That is that about it, ma. Hello, ma.
So thank you very much. So let's give him an electronic clap while we have comments for like 3 minutes. Let's have comments before we go to the next group. Do you have comments or questions for them? Are we listening at all?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
You can stop sharing. You can stop sharing if you.
I'll stop it.
Okay. Go on. Who wants to ask a question? Please go ahead. That's Simon.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, ma'am. And
Good evening.
it's a job well done, sir. Thank you very much. I actually don't have well understood anyway. So I just want to appreciate you. Thank you so much for the.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you,
Mr. Simon. Thank you.
What are you thanking him for now? Is it your group?
It's not in my group, man, but I quite even.
He is in my group.
For the area that I pose some difficulty, some area that pose difficulty, and the area that you are able to open it up, and to quite appreciate that. So that's it. Thank you, Mr. Yola. Thank you, Martin. Yes, man. Thank you,
Bro.
You will agree with us that I have been able to convince, in fact, convince us.
Thank you, Mr. Simon.
We
have not convinced the prof. That's why.
It is the prof that's going to. She will be the one to certify. I know mommy is smiling, but she will be the one to certify our work.
Honestly, prof, thank you, Mao. That's why.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Now, these theological rules that you say are prescribed, is it possible that they came from tendencies? That's that they arrived at? Is that possible?
That they came from tendencies?
That is the behavioral tendencies of, and please, those are American spellings, you have to change them. You don't write, you use British spellings in this university. So you don't write favor or behavior without the U. Okay, so is it possible that it is the tendencies and the behavior of the sons that led to the rules that are arrived at? That is one. Secondly, are you also aware that these rules, they always say that there are always exceptions to them?
Yes, so please, yes.
Any person in the group may wish to respond. Okay. Anybody in that group may wish to respond, please.
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah.
I think I'll respond to the tendency, the behavior of the words that has led to the.
No, we are not doing morphology here. We are doing phonology. So it's the sounds. Okay, because I'm hearing him talking about grammatical. This is not grammatical. These are sounds. So we're going to do that mix up. Yes, you may do the example of prescriptive grammar, but then what are we talking about here? We are talking about sounds. So please go ahead with your response, please.
Okay, Prof. Ma. Okay.
Yes, I think somebody in your group wanted to make comments.
Okay, yes.
Yes, ma'am. It is the behavior of the sounds that has led to development of phonological
Okay. No, but the way you were saying it, that the sounds were prescribed, so that's why I wanted you to clarify for me.
Prof. Ma, I only made analogy to what's a prescriptive grammar.
Is it a group work? Anybody can answer now, Mr. Laiwola.
Okay, ma. Okay, yes.
Let anybody, let them. You are done presentation for them. So let any other person to respond.
So, okay, the sounds, at times those sounds in different language behave differently, and the way it is being pronounced at times are being violated at times. So they have criteria. There are criteria that
we are talking about the English language, yeah.
There are features that must be. There are things that must be specific, as in they must obey some OT rules before they can be assigned.
I'm talking about phonological rules because it was saying they are prescriptive, and I said how were these rules arrived at? Is it possible that it is because there are tendencies for the behavior of those sounds? That's how the rules were aggregated from that behavior, from those behaviors.
I think because there are some tendencies for the exactly.
Who is answering me now?
Okay, Ma,
who is person talking? Are you in group 1 too?
Akinyera is in group 1, ma.
Okay.
I think there are the behavior of the tendencies caused it to make it the way it looks. If you look at our presentation and the example that Mr. Alayiwola has presented in our presentation, you will realize that because of the tendencies of the rules, that is why they behave the way they behave. That's why we said in the
you have said nothing, sir. You have said nothing, sir. You have said nothing. I don't know what you're talking about. What is prof? What did I do?
Mr. Alayiwola, Atirugu.
You have said nothing. You have said nothing.
But you have said nothing because you said me that the way the rules are, that's why they are behaving the way they are behaving. You said that these rules are prescriptive. And I was asking the question, okay, please, let's go to the next. You guys can be thinking about, let the group 2. Please go ahead with your presentation. Group 2.
I want to share my screen now.
Please go ahead.
Okay. Can you all see the screen?
It's not yet showing.
It's loading.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
We can see it now.
Okay. The
person that said she wants to join group 2, I hope you can see that group 2 is complete now. There are 6 already. So this your JC does not have matric number.
Yes,
that means the person didn't participate.
She just dropped her
I have
name
matric number and I dropped my matric number.
How can you just say that she just dropped it? She didn't participate in the work. Why will you just put somebody's name? Why will you just put somebody's name? I thought the rules were formed
that part of the work.
This is just the way I saw the name.
I dropped my name with my matric number.
Okay, we are 8 in the group, and the topic of our presentation today is.
Mr. Alayiwola, I thought they are supposed to be 6.
Yes, I don't know when the other 2 students joined them. I don't know. I only.
So that when did the 2 people join you?
They joined a day or 2 after the groups were created. They mentioned that they do not belong to any group and asked that they should be added to group 2. And they put the chat on the general ENG841 and 821.
You didn't form your own group for your. You did form a chat room for your group.
I did.
Did you?
Yes, I did.
So are they in the chat room?
Yes, I sent the link to everybody.
Are they in the chat room? Not that whether you sent or not. Are they in the chat room? Did they participate in this work?
Madam, please let me not talk about this. Let me just do
you should. You should. Please, this is a PG class. This is a PG class. If they did not, then remove their names.
Yeah.
If they did not participate, remove their names. Let them form their own group and go and do their own work. Please.
Okay.
I don't want to. This is why Nigeria is spoiling like this, because these small things we ask people to do it is a problem. What is the meaning of that now? Just to do a group presentation. Now I don't like giving people group presentation because people will not participate. Even I am leading research teams and I'm contributing. I'm doing my own part of the work. What is it now? As busy as I am, I do when I have a group, I'm working with them. I don't say because I'm busy, I will not pass. I contribute. Even most I end up doing most of the work. What's the meaning of that? Please, anybody that doesn't participate will remove their names. Even if it's only 2 people that did this work, then it's only those people that will get the credit. Please.
Okay, ma'am. All right, ma'am.
And then that goes for group 1 and 2. If your people didn't participate, please remove their names from that.
Prof,
did everybody participate?
Everybody participated. All 6 of us.
Good.
We did.
It's okay. So let me please, anybody that is not there, you can edit now and remove those names. And let me have only the names of the people that are participating. So please go ahead.
Okay. Okay, the title of the presentation is How Does Optimality Theory, OT, compare to phonological rules? The optimality theory and phonological rules are different linguistic concepts or different approaches to phonological analysis. OT, according to Uzaba 2016, is developed from the generative grammar, which is a modern approach to the previous phonological analysis of language. Phonological analysis of language is elaborated. Phonological analysis of language is elaborated.
Okay, I forgot. Let me put the timer on because me, I don't know. This one you are reading. Oh, yeah, your time starts now. Please go ahead.
Okay, phonological analysis of language is elaborated in the book Sound Patterns of English by Chomsky and Hall, 1968.
Haley.
Haley? Okay, Haley.
Yeah, that's his name.
Okay, Haley. I thought the E is silent. Haley, as well as in some postulations such as John Goldsmith's auto-segmental phonology and Lieberman's metrical phonology. Nonetheless, OT theory is regarded as a modern and better approach to phonological analysis compared to Chomsky and Haley, 1968, and other phonological models that now seem obsolete. The OT is preferable because it is constraint-based and explains language based on interactions of constraints, unlike prior rule theories that were rule-based. Thus, the OT introduced by Alan Prince and Paul Solemsky in their presentation in 1991 and 1993 changed the narrative in the field of linguistics to date. OT was introduced to capture the shortfalls of the rule-based frameworks. It also accounts for segmental phonology and suprasegmental or prosody phonology adequately. OT is a linguistic framework that accounts for the description or analysis of the structure of language. It is language-based. It sees grammar as a set of possible constraints. It sees grammar as a set of constraints that compare with one another to resolve conflict and gain priority. That is the optional output that satisfies the most constraints. In OT, constraints are hierarchically ranked according to importance. Constraints with higher ranking take priority over the lower ranked when there is a conflict between two or more constraints. Three main mechanisms are involved in OT in the optimality theory. They are gen, which means generator. It generates constraints for comparison, and the constraints and eval, which evaluates the set of outputs of candidates with regard to language specific hierarchy. There are three constraint rankings in OT. They are mainly faithfulness constraints, markedness constraints, and alignment. However, faithfulness and markedness constraints are most used. So the faithfulness constraint requires the identity between input and output. That is a surface form that corresponds or that is in line with the underlying form. And the markedness constraints are concerned with the output form, meaning that the output structure should be well formed, according to Uzaba 2016. So OT is language universal. but allows for variation across or within languages. And as optimal output is language specific, because different constraints and ranking are peculiar to a language. As a result, this leads to different grammatical structures. All in all, OT framework provides a more flexible structure of analysis, and this cuts across different language structure. However, phonological rules, that is the P rules, is an approach to analysis that describes the way in which sounds, that is phonemes and allophones, are produced in a natural language. These P rules explain how speech sounds are produced and could be altered due to their environment or context of occurrence. Hey, 2009. Phonological rules. These are the rules that describe how sounds are allowed to change in order to adapt to the phonotactics of a language in words, phrases, or sentences. These P rules are advanced by phonologists such as Noam Chomsky and Maurice Halley in their book, Speech Patterns of English, 1968, as well as Goldsmith's author's segmented phonology and Lieberman's metrical phonology. These contributions are all rule-based framework, which have shortfalls in that certain phenomena were not accounted for. Goldsmith, 1995, described phonological rules as mappings between two different levels of sound, sounds that represent underlying and surface levels, or the phonemic and the phonetic levels. According to Halley, 2009, phonological rules perform different functions. First, by applying P rules on the abstract level, possible concrete structures are generated. There are also formalization rules that transforms phonological rules from informal terms to formal terms.
You have 3 minutes more.
And scientific term in form of mathematical notations for easier identification, interpretation, shorter pronunciation of sounds that belong to natural classes graphologically. Francam and Rodman, 1978. Some of these notations include symbols for deletion, word boundary, and aspiration. Okay, since I do not have much time, let me quickly do the comparison between phonological rules and optimality theories. Now, let us see how OT tendencies are compared to phonological rules from the discussion above. OT tendencies can be compared to phonological rules in the following ways. Optimality theory and phonological rules are different phonological approaches that offer different phonological analysis that account for language sound patterns. Phonological rules account for how phonemes combine and interact with each other, and also the relationship that phonemes have with each other to form words and phrases. These rules indicate specific conditions or context in which one sound can be altered, that is, changes to another sound, or is deleted or modified in a particular environment. These formalization rules are dependent on the phonotactics operations that realizes an output from peculiar output form peculiar to a language's phonological constraint. Conversely, OT offers an attempt to describe the phonological pattern of a language by aiding the interaction of violable constraints. Languages all have a set of universal constraints that are ranked differently. These constraints occur hierarchical in order of their importance in phonology context. The constraints at the top ranked higher than those at the bottom, which rank lower, and they are less important. The phonotactics of a language determines the phonological pattern of a language. which is determined or emerges from the interaction of these constraints, which is based on the input that realizes the optimal output form. The outstanding difference between OT and P rules is that OT is constraint-based, while P rules is rule-based. OT focuses on what is optimally or preferably realizable. That is what emerges as a result of the interaction, that is output of ranking constraints and the optimal output. However, P rules specify what can and what cannot happen in a language. In OT, constraints appear hierarchical, and those constraints that ranked higher are more important than the lower ranked constraint. And as a result,
telling you that your time is up.
Just give me 1 minute. Constraints can interact in different ways. First, an input can realize different output forms, whereas phonological rules are fixed. They will always appear in a fixed sequence. Conclusively, OT is a more flexible...
In conclusion, not conclusively. There are two different things.
Okay, in conclusion, OT is more flexible framework than P rules. It is straightforward and has a more detailed pattern or meaning in the description of the interaction of constraint. This is not to say that P rules are obsolete. It is still in use, but the OT approach to phonological analysis is a more modern, detail-oriented, and generalized approach to phonological patterns. This thus got the attraction of modern linguists and phonologists. Thank you. Then these are the references we used.
Okay. Comments? Comments, so you can start sharing. Guys, let's stop now. You have nothing to thank. You have nothing to thank her for, Abi. When I say comment, they were thanking Mr. Layola. Now,
because we have been warned to stop thanking.
No, I don't want you not to that
very much.
I'm just wondering.
Okay, thank you very much.
Presentation was it was well. I think I understood a lot. What some lapses I couldn't, and where I had some problems with the differences and relationship between them. I think I got a better explanation than what I had when I was reading it. Thank you so much, Ogechi.
Oh, and well done to you. And personally, for me, you have done a good job, and well done. More power. Yeah.
I expected you people to be host in your presentations. You are busy thinking. That means you are not reading.
Madam, we are reading, no.
We are reading, no.
We are reading.
You should ask questions. That was said because she didn't understand. Now she's understanding.
Maybe there's no reason to ask questions now.
Then you are not reading. If you don't have reason to ask questions, then you are not reading. It's obviously you are not reading. The whole part of being PG student is to be able to criticize, to critique. Is there any major difference between her presentation and the presentation that went before?
Yes.
So what is it?
let me speak. Yeah, the presentation.
You are the person. You are the person they are criticizing. Why can you be the one to be speaking?
Okay.
They are the one to speak. You can't be a judge in your own matter.
Okay. The presenter, please. We in the
You
course of
presented the last one, so why are you also the one that is commenting? Let people order. There are two presentations now. Let me have comments. What is the major difference between the two presentations? I'm going to be a master student. Then let's see each one. I've decided that even the next class we start presentation very early.
I think the first presenter, I noticed that he talked about some rules on some phonological rules, and he tried to apply them where he had some people where he had talked about the candidate 1 and candidate 2. But the second presenter, she actually gave us examples of the differences and the relationship between the two, the optimality theory and the phonological theory. She was able to tell us that optimality theory is constrained and is reliable, flexible, but phonological has lots of rules. Talking about what can and what cannot happen in a language, which simply means that when we do not follow these rules, where in speaking or while speaking, the words, we are not getting it right.
So that's the difference between the two presentations.
Hello, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay. Hello, ma'am. In the first presentation, ma'am, so the speaker was able to give the instances, the allophonic instantiations, as in where the theories occurred. While in the second presentation, it is more theoretical than
that is allophonic instantiation. I'm learning new English today. Okay, go ahead. Please, that thing you're saying, there's nothing like that. There's nothing like that. Please, don't let me say that. Okay.
Say the instances.
So stick to that. Simple English. You don't go and be talking grammar that will break our heads.
Yes, ma'am. Just say the instantiation just came like that. You wanted to say instances.
Yes, but the instances are not allophonic. They are not. That's what I even correct. Not the instantiation. Instantiation, okay, but not that. Not, you said they are allophonic. That's not true. So please say what you want to say. But say in simple English. Is that okay?
Okay, ma'am. As in the speaker was able to give the examples by bringing the way and how they are pronounced. But in the second one, the practical instances were not given. It's only the theory we could.
Okay. I want to say something here, ma. Please. I have some examples for phonological rules, but because of time constraints, I couldn't say them. They are in the slides. Or they are in my screen, yes. Yes. I have something for assimilation, voiceless stops, morphological morphemic assimilation, and I have examples. It's just that I just wanted to do the comparison. That was the reason I didn't read out those and pronounce the sounds.
Okay, let me also tell you something. Let me also tell us something tonight. You see, you can present a paper in 30 minutes. You can present the same paper in 5 minutes. Do you know?
How, ma'am?
All right,
Okay,
ma'am.
good.
We are learning.
You go to the core and the heart of what you want to say. And you say it. You say it. You see, you started by reading. I know I didn't use timer. No, so it's possible actually you by short the time. It's possible. But then he actually, but you didn't tell us. When it was time, you should have told us. If you have alerted me, because I didn't set up my timer. Of course, he has even gone for, if I remember, I should have put timer, but and that was I was trying to ask us, please, who is anybody keeping time? So I didn't set up timer. So until he has gone for that was and I said, okay, let me raise this. And that was I said, okay, you only 2 minutes to round off, and which he also did. So it's possible he has that advantage. But then, like the person observed right from the beginning, he started showing us examples. He started exemplifying it. I think that for me, that is good. Yes, he makes some claims that are wild, and that was how I was trying to ask you to interrogate those things, but we're not ready to. We're busy telling him thank you, because we're not ready. So he has done the reading for us. Huh? That is not good enough. When you are given a topic, what I should actually have done to share the topic for you people. But I see went on my own, I see presented. Now for you people to now just build on that. Then that one also is you are just used to this style of you are just coming to sponge up and to sponge up and to sponge up. Everything I know how to do, I've tried to encourage people that okay, and I've only given people the same thing, everybody to go and read up the same thing. Okay, these are claims. Let us interrogate them. And then we are still waiting and telling you, like, well, yeah, thank you. You are the one that read it for me. Thank you. Yes, that she tried. The only thing I just correct with is that she already you should learn to speak to your people. You learn to do that. Speak to your people. And that's why if we have actually done what's it called now? Slides. It will be easier. Yeah, because you should have gone straight to the point. And that's why they are called PowerPoints. Just hit. And then being a given example, because even when I try to instances give examples, and even where I have to do analysis, I try to do it on the screen. So, but I just felt this is not an undergraduate class. I have to do a lot more of analysis online on the screen. If it is an undergraduate class and with you people, I expect you to be interrogating those things that you are reading. That's what I expected you to be doing at your level. Unfortunately, I'm used to teaching. Even when I was teaching NC, I teach them to interrogate, not to take hook, line, and sinker. Talk less of master students. So I'll be thinking about some things for some time. I think that's how I will approach the class in the next time. I won't do this for feeding. That's what we should be doing. It's not nice. So at least now we are talking. So it's good we interrogate. The person cannot beat you. It will make the person also look at it. Okay, now she said she actually has samples, but because she didn't manage her time well, she should have known that those are important parts of what presentation. Straight to the whole things. So all the other things, all of us have read them, but how do you understand them? Like they say, I'm not sure that Alawola presented that. They said their position, but he did it. I don't think he actually gave us that position eventually. I can't remember, but you did not even have a position at all.
I do.
Madam
Okay. Yeah, I do. I do have a position, yes. I said because OT is detail-oriented and it is more modern, that is why it caught the attention, or it attracted phonologists and linguists.
Yeah, how is that your position? Huh? How is that your position?
Because it is more detail-oriented, and detail-oriented means that because it is constraint-based and is not as if it is prescriptive, like phonological rules, which say what can.
Okay, let's interrogate this issue of prescriptive. You people are just prescriptive. Okay, so how is OT? Is it not still following tendencies? the way P rules are also extracted or developed from tendencies, the behaviors of the sounds. Let's actually look at it together. Let all of us talk. Let me have your comments. Let me have your comments, guys.
Okay, Prof. Ma.
But let us discuss this.
Prof. Ma, we believe that it is as a result of the tendency, either P rule or optimality theory. They base it on the tendency, I mean, the behavior of a particular language, the rule of a particular language. But we are
we are focused on the language, yeah, which is English language.
Yes, English language.
So are you talking about the tendency of sounds or language?
The tendency of sound.
Let's confuse these things.
Okay, the tendency of sound. Okay, that is why they even give an exception to every rule given. But Ma,
which is what you are not noting in your presentation. You are not accommodating this rule of exception. Because even P rules say that there are exceptions to the rules. Is it not so?
Yes, Ma, because our main focus was to check and to make it clear why optimality theory is described rule-free. So we just try to compare it to phonological rule. So as to show that, okay, this is the, position of a phonological rule, and this is the position. And if optimality theory maintains that it is rule-free, this is why it says so.
Okay, so you are being brought over by optimality theory before you argue that it's also covered by rules. You are changing your position.
No. We have not changed the position.
We have moved from APC to PDP.
No, Ma.
No,
it's from PDP to APC.
No.
Okay, I have something to say.
Let him defend himself. I'm making a very grievous accusation now. Because before he said, yes, the whole thing is rule-based. It is rule. It is rule-free. So let us change your mind.
Yes.
Okay, Ma. What I want to say.
Understand that it's totally.
Let him finish speaking. Daniel, okay, you will come and speak. Let him.
Okay, but please, Ma, the prescriptive and descriptive that we were making reference to was just to show that the prescriptive grammar. Please, Ma, let me quickly make a 1 minute reference to these. Prescriptive grammar says this is how it should be done. But the modern linguists who are descriptive grammarians, or let's say what descriptive grammarians, no, describe it to them just as the optimality theory do. They say, let's describe it by giving different constraints and see it. This is so we are not trying to say that phonological rule is prescriptive. We're only making reference to show that okay, there is a little connection between the way they have done their job.
Okay, you are talking of modern grammar, and do you know that transformational generative grammar is accused of being a prescriptive grammar, and it's very modern? You don't know.
So, yes.
Okay, Daniel, say what you want to say.
Okay, what I want to say regarding the prescriptive term we have been using, or I use, is that prescriptive is rule-based, as in language.
We know that now. We know that.
Language must be used in this particular way, and that is what the phonological rules are based on. But the OT rules, what it is saying is that all these constraints are universal, but they are also specific in different languages and can be used as is deemed fit in those languages. So in this case, it is not rule-based. Just as we talk about preferable and optimal sound achievement. So that is just what I am trying to say in order to tell you what I mean by prescriptive. Yes.
Okay. We all know what it means to say prescriptive. If prescriptive says that you describe for you how you are supposed to speak, how you're supposed to sound, I mean that we know that's what it means. Why descriptive comes from the tendencies that you see in the language, and that's different essentially between the cognitive grammar and the functional grammar. The functional grammarians say that when it is used, they just see this is what is being used in the language. Whereas the cognitivists, like Chomsky, say that this is the way it should be spoken. That's why I'm just telling people that mentalist grammar is essentially about prescription, because it actually grew, it was a reinvention of the traditional grammar. That's just it. That's just it. So if you go and read this history of TGG, you will find that is the way it came from. But the functionalism came actually from the, this is from Fethian analysis, where they say, but why are you telling people they should speak like this? This is how they actually speak in real words. And that was to analyze. And that was why I ask you people that question, that do you know that is from the tendencies the rules were created? Okay, it's okay. It's, we are learning. So let's interrogate more and search more. So I guess the class is getting more and more interesting now. Is that not so? Except for Stella that continues to say she cannot hear us.
Yes,
going to say she cannot hear us. Me, I don't know how I'm going to help in that one. Let her be watching video. Or like Sylvester that is thanking you that all the things you didn't read before, you didn't understand. You are doing like making it to understand.
Hello,
So
ma. Sorry, ma. I think I
what
have
if that is reading?
something I want to ask you. It's just some kind of observation or so. I don't know. I think Mr. Olayiwola, you are with me. Madam Ogechi also. I think you will be okay now. This phonological, I think there was a class of ours some time ago that we actually argue specifically on this Piru and optimal theory, OT. And we said we try to fetch the two together to mean that, since Piru is a rule that we need to follow accordingly, strictly, and OT is also a rule. And I think I can still remember vividly well that we agreed that these two theories, these two, they are the same thing. At least, since this one is saying, okay, this one is the rule, this one is the rule, we need to follow them accordingly. Now, let me go back to this.
We didn't agree now. We didn't agree.
We didn't agree.
That was why I said you should go and read up.
Yes, that is why.
That was what led to the assignment.
Okay, let me just bring out this in now. Now, when we look at this rule of formalization under the P rule and that of nasalization of a thing, where we have a division.
Power nasalization.
Nasalization under the P rule. And we said, okay, these are strict rules. You need to follow all of these if you have to arrive at this particular way, and then you need to pronounce it. This one needs to come this way, this one comes in that P rule and formalization. That one aside. And the OT, from what I've had, in fact, I'm beginning to get some kind of confusion here. In the OT word of it, we have that of suprasegmental and which is the syllable, what you need to follow in a syllable under the OT, and what you need to follow under the stress. And I'm sure we have that of some rules or like some OT rules under the intonation and so of it. Let me just come back to the stress and all of this.
So there are about 4 groups. 4 different subheadings.
I think I'm beginning to get there's this some kind of confusion here. Does it mean that we cannot take these OT rules on its own? That okay, these are rules. Let us follow it this way.
But that was the question I asked. Is that the question I asked?
Okay, now then this one I'm saying that I'm looking at now. In case we find ourselves in a situation, maybe in the exam or so, and we are presented.
Forget exam hall. You are here to learn.
Okay, ma'am.
You are here to learn.
Yes, we are here now. We are presented with these 2 theories in the exam. Probably here now, right here now. If we want to tackle such the OT now,
please don't bring me to that. Don't bring me to that. Don't bring me to that. Let me just tell you, people, you are master students. You should be thinking about interrogating things. You should be thinking about interrogating things. I was expecting people to be the one to first raise that question. Somebody said something is rule-free. Then you now have about four divisions of constraints that are given as rules that are you to follow. And that was I asked that question. That was I said, okay, go and read up. Go and read up.
Prof,
but that was our position. That is our stand. Yes, that is our stand. That it is not a completely rule-free. That is just a kind of we just call it a constraint. That is kind of limitation. Yes, that is not totally rule-free. Although that was what they proposed, that a rule-free, but it's not a rule-free. Because we have it in
because we have rules guiding all of these things.
Yes, it's in stress. It's in all these supra-segmental prosodic features. Now. So we cannot say it's a rule-free stuff.
These are standby rules now.
So
okay, Daniel Kereken.
Okay, what I have to say here in terms of the two frameworks is that if I'm to say, I'm not trying to say that OT is totally rule-free, but
you can say if you believe so. You are free
to. Okay, yes.
Okay.
OT is not totally rule-free, but it is more flexible. But phonological rules are rigid. You must follow it that way. But OT rules are more flexible.
I will counter you in that. I need to follow you up with that. Those statements, man. Sorry, man.
Okay, go on. Yes. OT rules are more flexible than phonological rules. Phonological rules are rigid.
Yes, that is hello.
No, wait. Sylvester saying he wants to take up on that. Please, let's have your thoughts.
Please, ma.
Sylvester, let's have your thoughts.
Okay, ma. I think when it comes to this phonological rule, and some of us that are in the classroom or so, taking out this phonology and the phonemes and the phonetics and text of oral in the classroom. And I think that when you compare these two together, when it comes to the phonology, they are very more flexible, very, very flexible. You can understand them. For example, now, when the pronunciation and this what do you call the plural of a thing, these are rules that they are very, very standard. That you need, if you have a plosive, if you have a voice consonant and coming before an S marker, you have a voice, that thing will change to a B. I think these things are very much standby compared to the OT. OT, I'm sure.
Are you sure it is not because they have been around for a long time, you have been learning about them?
Exactly.
Are you sure that's not
exactly.
What you should be doing is not that they are flexible, that is the issue. It should be probably what may be your issue is that the OT constraints are so many and cumbersome. Maybe that's what you are finding as difficulty there.
That is exactly the issue.
That's actually the issue.
But probably now we know that this OT something now. I don't think if not, this is the first time I'm seeing. In fact, in this our master's class, and be reading some of these books and they'll be seeing something. I think
why is it a master's class now? Who will teach you that to undergraduate?
Okay, some of the books outside there now, in fact, I've never come across anything opposing or any other thing. That's why probably it's becoming some kind of problematic stuff to us.
It's not problematic. I told you people in your district, the e-library is accessible. Go there. Go there. The university is subscribing to many districts. Go there and read. You guys are not ready to read. That's the problem. The university is making these things accessible. Book from anywhere in the world. Go there and look for it and read. You will find that there's a whole book on optimizing theory. Find it and read it. And you don't have to pay. The university has made their paid for it. Please.
Okay, man. Thank you, man.
You still want to talk? I think you have talked.
No.
What's the issue? Yes, let me make a comment on Olaiwola's presentation. You see, when you want to use ampersand for and, I saw you say Sunday and whatever now, 2016. You do it inside brackets. Inside bracket, that's why you do it, not outside. Outside, you use the full hand. But when inside bracket for APA, this thing you can use ampersand. So I just said I didn't want to interrupt you that time. That's why I didn't make a motion.
Okay, my own is just I want to ask you a question, ma. I've been reading some books to outside of our course material, and under this OT theory, it said that there are 3 important constraint families that are explored mostly, and that's faithfulness, alignment, and markedness. The markedness, I don't understand what they mean by markedness. That's mark, EDNESS. I don't understand it. I've checked and checked. I don't really know what they're talking about. Excuse it to me, ma.
Okay. Okay. What do you mean by markedness? Essentially, when you are making what do I call it now? Whether in the grammatical or in the phonological, when you say a structure or a part of it is marked, what essentially are you referring to?
That's what I don't understand, ma. That's why I had to ask you.
Okay. Okay. My answer to that for now. My answer to that for that is this: that in the next class, you are going to do the presentation on that.
On markedness.
Yes. Okay. Compared to focus in grammar. I think you're also in the grammatical class.
ENG841.
Yes. Are you not there?
No, ma.
Are you not in the grammatical class?
No, I only offer 2 of your courses, phonology and syntax, ma.
Yeah,
that's the second class now. So I said compare markedness in your phonology to focus in your grammar.
Yes, focus.
All right, ma.
Now you say when you have a focus portion of a structure and the markedness in your phonological presentation, what is the difference? Are they the same? Are they different?
I have to read more.
To further research.
Yeah. No, I'm just giving you way to focus your reading. That's what I'm doing.
Yes, exactly.
I'm not giving you way to focus your reading because I'm giving you something. Anyway, let me give the answer by myself.
Please give us.
Okay.
Please help us with the answer so that we can now do further.
No, you're here to see. If people are teaching you rules of the answer, I don't do that. I teach you to learn.
Okay,
I must say that I'm quite impressed by Mr. Olaiwole's presentation, if I have to say it. I would say I'm quite impressed that he went out of his way. The Okereke too, I appreciate even your approach is a bit different, but at least the courage and the confidence, I like that. So we are getting somewhere. We are getting somewhere. So what I need for that is to improve on it. And I made the next class I'm not going to spoon feed. I'm not going to spoon feed. You guys will teach me. So this is what I want to do. So let us leave undergraduate level. We are master students. We are master students. I want you to be able, like today's class now, I've gone past the time, but I'm glad it is becoming more lively, and that's why I like to teach. So I want us, so I don't want this currency, thank you. I want us to interrogate. Let's interrogate. So like I showed you now, I have given you an idea of what can guide you to your answer. It can guide you. So what I will do is to guide you to your answer. So in the next class, you are going to present to what you found. So I don't want you to send it this. I'm going to give you 5 minutes to present, 5 minutes for question, then we'll go into whatever we are doing that day. So that is your own assignment for that day. So the other people, the other groups, what you do is that you submit. You submit because I don't think it will only take 2 groups today. Okay, group 4. Did you have any to present?
Yes, ma.
You do?
Yes, ma.
Wow. I will give them 5 minutes to do their quick presentation.
Okay, ma.
All right,
Please,
ma.
please do. 5 minutes.
Okay, ma. Okay. Let me just talk
Actually,
about.
I totally forgot that there's still a group that's ready.
Okay, let me just talk about the general overview of phonological rules.
Yeah, you are not going to share your screen. You don't have anything to present.
Ma, there's
You
no
can go
light
ahead
here.
and
I'm using my phone. We don't have light here. I'm using my phone.
I think a lot of people use their phone to do their presentation. Is that not right? Mr. Laiwola, do you use your phone? Is it not your phone you use?
No system.
Mr. Laiwola, is it not your phone?
It is tablet.
Okay. What about Daniel Kurike? Is it not your phone?
No, I use my laptop.
Okay. So, speak to it.
All right, ma. Yes, ma. Okay. All right. Thank you very much, ma. When we talk about phonological rules, there are basic preoccupations of generative phonology, and that they describe how a speaker goes from the abstract representation, like stored in their brain. It has to do with the mental lexicon a speaker has, then to the actual sounds that they articulate in an utterance. So phonological rules, they use the application of these rules to present the phonemic outputs. So we can't outrule we can trace this phonological rule to the work of generative phonologists, where we have rules on how to go about the sound system based on the work of Maurice Halley and Noam Chomsky in their work sound pattern. So let me just talk about the features of phonological rules. Phonological rules is language specific. So it is a rule that that is present in one language and it may be absent in another language. For example, in English language, we have what's it called, allophones, which happens to be the variants of a particular phoneme. But in Thai, there's nothing like such. Allophone, the aspirated sound is a different sound, while the unaspirated sound is a different sound. So in Thai language, so we can say that phonological rules, they are language specific. What is present in this language may not be present in the other language. Then they have to do with the speaker's ability to be aware of these rules. So they give this consciousness to language users. So, and also the phonological rules, they are rules that give speaker intuition about what words how words are well formed or acceptable. So I wouldn't want to waste much of our time on phonological rules. So let me just say that these phonological rules, they are called formalizations of rules, and they help us and they guide us through. So that's that about phonological. When we talk about OT rules, like I had to, for proper understanding, I had to look for the dictionary meaning of optimal, which means the best, the most favorable or desirable, especially under some restriction. So having this understanding and what others have said, that OT is constraint based. When we talk about constraints, it means, let's say, criteria, yardstick, or parameters through which we describe a language grammaticality. And here we are made to understand that these criteria are what the optimality theorists build on to generate language grammaticality. For example, we have criteria such as syllable must not have coders, syllables must have onset, a nuclear segment must be more sonorous than others, and lots more. So these criteria, they are the constraints, and not all criteria must be fulfilled. But we, okay, when we talk about in OT rather, not all the criteria, the constraints are fulfilled, in the sense that some are violated, while some are not violated. But the candidate, that is the competitor for the optimal slots, helps us emerges the winner or what's it called? Like the definition I gave, the most favorable or desirable, despite the restriction. So this what's it called? This criteria does not mean that the candidates will not be the candidates prescribed to be acclaimed to be the winner does not violate. The candidate violates, but the violation is on a lesser constraint. On a lesser constraint. So for OT made us to understand that that not all the criteria must be fulfilled before we can ascertain the winner. But the competitor with a lower ranked constraint is the winner. So describing a language is not on the grounds that language use will not be violated. It will, but the violation is minimal. Is minimal and lesser. So constraints in OT is like a filter. So through which the grammaticality of a language is established. So let me just rush through how OT work. OT shows how certain constraints interact with each other, and how this interaction leads to the well-formedness of a candidate. So, and what does this mean? These constraints they are used to guide, so that the violation will not be on the high side, but on the minimal side. Okay, for example, let me say this. One of the weaknesses of OT, I don't know, the time is so short, I'm just trying to mix up everything. Let me still talk about how OT work. In OT, the higher constraints dominate the lower constraint. So if the higher constraint is violated, that violation is a fatal violation. But if it's a lower violation, we can still say that that candidate is still happens to be the winner for that optimal slot. And I can say again that constraints in OT, they are universal. So they believe that all constraints are present in the grammar of all language. But however, those constraints ranking is the only systemic difference among languages. And lastly, from my own viewpoint, I can say that OTC has its own shortcomings, in the sense that it does not give room for the for the predecessors' work, especially on phonotatic rule. We are made to understand that English language has its own, or rather her own phonotatic rule, which is the CVC. But in OT, we are made to affirm that the constraint is universal, and a general formulation of this constraint is when this general formulation, in the sense that a language with a complex cluster in its phonology helps to solve this phonotatic rule by inserting. So here, OT talks about epenthesis, where you can add sound so that it will fit in either vowel insertion or deletion, so that the sound we fit in into the sound system. So I am viewing it that it still has its own shortcomings, because it does not give room for this phonotatic rule. And since it is not like a phonological rule that is language specific, OT is not language specific. So I would say that this inability to give room for this phonotatic rule is one of the shortcomings that makes it difficult to some extent. And it also does not provide a framework for phonological phenomenon. For example, like syllable structure, the manner in which phonological features interact. OT does not make provisions for this, but rather it uses the constraint, which happens to be the restrictions or the parameters, a domicile in a language, to determine the grammaticality of that language. So OT as a formal approach to language accounts for how the underlying representation is mapped onto the surface representation in any given language. Thank you.
And you still use all your time. Thank you very much. Okay. So comments, please, so that we can get done today. Do you have comments? Do you have comments?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
so
go ahead.
The presenter really tried, but the same complaints that there are no examples of our presentation. She did not give examples.
She had 5 minutes and she ended up spending 9 minutes, and then you said she
Okay. No, I feel that she tried for making mention of rule of formalization under the phonology. At least we should understand that better. I think we should give her that point also, that she has been able to.
I have one query and one, because when she said that English has allophonic variations, but other languages don't, or that this, and I wonder what about the tones in our languages? Are they not allophonic?
Like okay.
They are, ma.
They are.
For example, Igba, Igba, Igba. They are all the same phonemes, but they have Igba. That is calabash. Igba. Time.
Igba.
Igba. Igba. Time. Igba number.
200.
Yes. They are.
But she is not responding because I don't know. Some of these claims we make. I don't know.
She said it's language specific, and she gave example of Thai language. So maybe she's not a Yoruba person. She may not know this.
But there's Nigerian language that does not have to. Is there any Nigerian language that does not have to?
Yes, Igbo language we know she's not also tonal. Igbo language is tonal. For example, we have aqua, that is cloth, aqua, bed, aqua, cry, aqua, egg.
So, Joe, you won't have 4.
Okay.
Does it mean you actually have 4? Do you have 4 tones?
No, we have more than
Yoruba has 3. Yoruba has 3.
3.
Because why I worry is that at our level, if it's undergraduate, some of these things I just correct them and say, go and sit down. But at our level, when you are making claims, that was why I told you, you can disagree. We will not be having, if scholars are not going to query and interrogate things, we will not be having advancement of knowledge. I want us to get that into our heads. Because some of the things that people write in their thesis, their dissertation, it worries me. Because they just go and recycle the same thing. And that's why I'm encouraging us that let us interrogate and don't let us go and be doing work that is meant for education people. Let's do what is meant for us as MA students. All this time you go and carry paper and be saying this, tell to them say yes, next to them say no. That is not research. These are things we should be looking at. So when we don't make sweeping claims, then if there's something wrong, we should interrogate those things. So because she just said, maybe she already somewhere now, that they just said that this person has this one does that, then she didn't go further. Before you start making claims, interrogate those things. That's just it. Because these are also the way the other languages also do. And I don't let us just try and stick to our English that we are studying. So that is just it. But anyway, that's my own question. If you don't have any further question, I think we can Ali, I appreciate her for having the courage to sit present. Because I've actually forgotten there's another group that said they want to present. That I was already making comments. I didn't want to make comments on presentations and all of that. But it's okay. At least she presented, and even though she said I, so I saw 4 people say they are in that group, but she said I, so I'm suspecting maybe you are the only one that did the work.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So you don't that means you don't have a group. Because
I have a group.
Before.
Excuse me, ma. In that group, in the 841 and 821 group, when we were grouped to, I saw my name in group 4. I asked if there is a private WhatsApp group that is designated for that. Nobody responded. So I created one and they joined. So in the group, I asked them to submit their write-up. So for compilation, nobody did. Until yesterday night that they were saying we should have a Zoom meeting by 8 o'clock. And I'm not feeling so well for that. So that's why I didn't reply. And up to it was during the class, they were sending me messages that what are we going to say? What are we going to say? And which should not be.
Rufo, clap for yourself. Anyway, it's okay. I think we are getting my style now. You don't pray, you know in my class is the next class. So can you be saying somebody, what will you be saying? When you already aware long ago that you are going to present. And if it's like you didn't do a good job because it's like they didn't know they are going to present today.
but my own job was to divide to group to make group now, and I've already done that. So we created a personal group for our groups after the general one. So I don't know how they did their own.
Every other group also created a private one, but some people decided not to do anything. But my group members did.
Hey, don't talk for you that you are writing people that just came today to your group.
No,
just keep quiet. So let me not start on you, eh? Oh yeah, thank you for being honest. Thank you for being honest. I appreciate that. Please let us be serious. Let us be serious. I am telling us, let us be serious. You don't know any of these things I'm going to use. So let us be serious. I am telling you now.
Yes,
so everybody that are not submitted, please send it to my email. All the other groups, send it to my email. Your submission, send to my email.
Okay.
So maybe I have a private time for you to present.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, so thank you very much. So everybody, well done. The person that is going to present first on next Tuesday is Elshodi. So she's going to do the first presentation next week. So let me see if
you gave me on markers in phonology and focus.
Yes, you are going to teach us that day. You are going to teach us.
I will try,
so,
ma.
You are not going to try. You are going to present us.
I will try.
So let me see if I see something else I want us to present on. Then, but if I just round off and we just discuss some things, then we do it next week. I actually wanted all the group to present today, but unfortunately, we spent so much time on the other one. Then the time has gone and all of that. So, but at least I appreciate those of you that took time out and do presentation. Therefore, please send the other Mr. Lawola, please, the other people that don't have group, either they form another group or you add them to the groups that are not yet complete. You add them to it, then let them get their presentation and send it to my email. So I will decide whether they are going to do private presentation to me, or if people say you are still interested, we invite you. So, but I will complete the presentation by next week. Okay, thank you very much, everybody. So please, I am appealing to let us read. Make use of the library the university is subscribing to. The university is paying heavily in dollars for those things. Please make use of the books and the journals. Is that okay?
Yes. All right, ma'am.
See you guys on Thursday, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then those the one that for phonology, see you next Tuesday. So God bless you guys.
Thank you,